What's up, everybody? My name is Ita and I'm the chess geek from chessgeek.org. I'm super excited because I get to share one of my favorite ways to counter d4 c4, which is the Semislav Defense. I've made a series about this, and so if you want the other videos in the series, they will all be linked down below in the description. So today we're talking about the Moran Variation. So e3, the knight coming down here to d7, you can take the pawn, bishop recaptures, and now b5, okay? And this is the Moran Variation, and the bishop now has three options. It can hop down to any one of these squares that I'm highlighting, and we talked about this in the latest video, so today we're going to be talking about this move, and this is going to be in a future video. The only difference with the bishop coming here, one difference is that the bishop is on this diagonal here, but the main difference for you is that the bishop is now no longer on this diagonal here, and so there's a very nice move that takes advantage of this, and so try to figure out if you can find it. It's a very good move, and this is the biggest difference. This is a move that realistically will not be possible in other lines, but in this line, this is the big move they want to find, okay? So that is this pawn here, making the knight have to move back. The knight can go here or here. Let's say the knight starts by wanting to go here to try to stop this move. Okay, well now, you don't even really need to focus on this. Instead, you can play the move bishop b6. And the idea with this move is stopping white from castling, which is a huge thing that white wants to do. I mean, you'll see that white sacrificed a lot of tempo in order to castle, right? You know, white can, play something like this and hold off on moving the bishop, because if white moves the bishop like white did, well, now there's this idea where the bishop has to move 3 times, right? So white lost a lot of tempo in order to get the bishop out to castle, and so you're basically saying you lost a lot of tempo, but you're still not going to get to castle, and this is just a very nice move, and that's how you can take advantage of the bishop not being on these squares. And there's nothing white can do. They can sacrifice a queen or a bishop, but there's no real move that allows white to castle. Okay, instead, if the knight moves here, which is the best move, we'll notice that now this is just not a great move because white can still castle. But you'll still be able to eventually push this pawn, bring the bishop back, put it on the diagonal, and all will be okay because now the knight is no longer pressuring on the queen side. So if you'll notice before, when the knight was here, so if we look actually at the line that I talked about on the previous video, you had to play a6 before you played this move and put the bishop on the diagonal because this pawn was hanging because of this knight. So now you've taken away the knight from the queen side. You've taken away the knight from pressuring this pawn, and so you don't have to waste the move on a6, and you can immediately go ahead and play c5 and place the bishop on the diagonal. So overall, this is just a very solid move, and it's definitely a move that will give black a better position than white. Now, you might be thinking, well, what about these moves? Because these were the moves that you wanted to play when the bishop came back to d3, and these are still very much possible. It's not like you're blundering or anything, but they're just not as strong. Okay, so let's start with a6. a6, well, white can castle, which is what white wants to do, and now you can play the move c5. White can even play this idea, and now you can play this, and you can trade a little bit, force the white out of this diagonal, and you'll notice that the bishop has a fairly nice spot. The only difference is that now this move is possible because the bishop is now on this square. Okay, so this move is possible, and this bishop is a little bit sad because it's now a little bit blocked in. Okay, instead of that move, if we go all the way back, instead of playing this move, you could first put the bishop here, but that's a big mistake that a lot of people make. A lot of people in the Semislav, when it comes time to fianchetto the bishop, they make the mistake of playing very slow moves. Okay, so they play a6 and they play bishop here. They prepare everything. And the problem with this is it allows white to get this full center here. And so once you play this move, white has this very nice counterattack on the king side. And overall, white's just going to have a very nice position with the help of a bishop, with the help of a knight. And it's just going to be very, it's going to be very annoying for you with all of this pressure on the king side, okay? And so that is not really what you're going to want to play. So instead, I would definitely recommend first playing this move and then eventually getting the bishop on this diagonal, because it's not like you're castling queenside. There's no rush to get the bishop out. Okay, so first you can try to prepare the bishop coming out and only then actually move the bishop out, okay? So that's what happens with a6. So it's definitely still playable, but I just think this is much more powerful. Now let's look at b7. Again, very playable still, but I just don't think it's as good. With this move, once they castle, you can actually even play b4 still, and still have this idea of moving the knight out, and then being able to move the pawn here. But this time the knight can come here without the threat of stopping you from castling because the white already castled. So that's the big difference with first moving the bishop here. You're wasting a move, allowing white to castle, and so this is just not as powerful as it was before. Of course, you can't really play this move yet, so you can play this and then prepare this, but then they can attack your pawn. You can still play this to protect it, and then if they take this move, protects the pawn, and you're just going to win this pawn because there's no move that can defend the pawn twice because it's only defended once. But overall, you'll notice that this is pretty pleasant for you, and it's okay, but by far the best move in this position. And the thing that you need to understand, if you see this, move the pawn up, and that's the difference between this. Thank you guys for checking in. Hopefully this video was great and you'll learn a lot. It would mean a whole lot for me if you could subscribe if you haven't already, and also if you could check out my brand new chess website aimed to make you a better chess player. It will be linked in the description, or you could just simply type out www.chessgeek.org. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.